let's go to this image. Even you can do it without this camera. There's these things, film looks. Okay, you can just make it look a bit more film, depends on the image. So you don't always have to use LUTs that are already like a preset of your camera. Sometimes depends on the light and everything is just not gonna work as good as others. This one, for example, cleaning it a bit, just add another node, and now, for example, don't do this color temperature that much, put a bit of blue. Okay, the tint also, remember, you can change it. Saturation 2 is too much probably, or also remember you can change the color of the skin. So what I would do is go like this and just select here the color of them. Okay, so make sure that it doesn't change. Okay, so you just select these parameters. Okay, or if not, you can create a mask too. Okay, like you can do anything really. Like if you want, let's create a mask on them so they don't look like this. Command S, Alt S, and here we're gonna create a mask. Okay, circular. Okay, like this, perfect. We soften a bit. Okay, also take a bit the glass, take him a bit, something like this, to do this light less. So it's not this light as much, okay, as red as it is here. However, maybe we have to change this one. Also, there's of gamma, hybrid lock gamma. So you can, there's different like lightenings. This is very bright, brighter, brighter, brighter. Okay, gamma 1.0, 2.0, 2.4, 2.6, there's different. Okay, this is like an ND filter more or less. Okay, again, more of gamma. Okay, so you can just first apply a LUT of gamma, then you can change whatever you want. And that's it, that's how you do it. So this would be too much. Olympus, there's for camera Olympus too. RE. And this film looks, okay, so it looks a bit more like a film. Maybe this is a good idea to go for a gamma first, forget about the cinema and all these things. Okay, to just work in a decent gamma that you would like. Also, there's this black magic for the black magic cameras. They just, depending on what, they just have different information, okay? Like this, I wouldn't go for this. I would go probably first to, in these images that I don't even remember that because it wasn't me who recorded that neither. So in these images that you don't really know, just try one that you find it looks okay. So in that case, the one we were using before, it doesn't look okay on this. But this one, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, it looks something very neutral that then you can add things. So for example, in case you want to add something, let's put like this, let's put a bit more midtones in their faces, okay, with this mask. Okay, let's turn the highlights a bit down in this mask. Let's also just put the saturation higher up. Let's contrast a bit more too. Okay, now the highlights more blue. No, more than the highlights, the midtone, just put it a bit blue. Not that much, not that much. So offset probably would be. In offset, you see, it's pretty heavy. The changes we apply, not that much, something like this. Yeah, something like this. Should be now the mask size, always soft. Make it a bit softer. And now what we have? It looks a bit better than when where it was, no? Before. Okay, what else could we do? Also an opposite mask of this. So let's do an opposite mask. Okay, and here we can dark this a bit, so more shadows. Here too. Okay, what we've been doing, but we started with a LUT, this one. Okay, so this obviously, I'm looking at it now like this, but it's already doing things. So okay, this tool is very useful, and I insist a lot, but you're gonna use this a lot. Okay, a bit more contrast in the borders. So this red, I don't like it a lot, so I'm gonna just try to put more than the mid-tone, maybe the shadows a bit blue. Okay, or something like this, yeah. And you see it has already more colors, more expressions. It's looking a bit more elegant. We need to make sure we don't overdo this. Then now the midtones, we will have to change them a bit here. Highlights, no. Also remember color boost. We can use the color boost. Okay, so if we use the color boost here, it already looks like a different. Be careful here though. We cannot do that much, okay, because then creates these imperfections, so less color boost. Okay, but something like this is already a bit more interesting. Okay, something like this. Okay, now it's cleaner. It has a bit of gain and a bit of thing, but not as much, okay? And we can also even perfect this part, like I think we can do it a bit more like this. And here, yes, we wanna just color boost a bit, so the skin is a bit better, okay, just with the color boost this. And then we could shadows a bit down, okay, so we see more the quality of her face, contrast even higher up, a bit like this. Now it's a bit too yellowy, so we're gonna put the midtones more to the blue, not that much, or the offset in general can be just closer to blue, like this, something like this. And now we see we have a different expression. Also, an original thing we could do, this one, that is the opposite mask, remember, we created this opposite mask that is only a bit the background. We could go a bit crazy and even just turn the saturation all the way down. Okay, it now looks like they are very in focus. The problem is that when he goes away, he's gonna turn obviously black and white. But you could do that. Also, what we could do instead of this, shadows, okay, eye shadows, the black and white, which is the saturation, no? We could do this, the hue, so change the meaning of colors. Okay, the thing is that then maybe probably this mask I would change it, and I don't want him to turn into this color, so I would put it more like this, okay, but you don't notice that I changed the hue of the other part with just using this mask. It's a lot of things you can do. Okay, there's a lot of things. Put the highlights down, up. Okay, like this. But you saw, we started from something like this, and we ended something like this. First, with this LUT, that what we did with this LUT is basically light. How much light do we want? And then we just, with two masks, and one the opposite of the other, perfected this background, perfected the tones of the face, perfected the face itself. They tried to put that illumination that was not as good that day, probably, or was good but just needed a bit of a kick then in post-production. And that's what we are achieving with the LUTs, with all these notes. Remember to create opposite notes, all this. If now I wanted also, I could create a parallel note after this, okay? I could create now. After this, I'm gonna make another, and just for you to see how parallel nodes work. So I'm gonna do now parallel, 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 and I'm gonna touch one thing of each parallel of this. So for example, this parallel, I'm gonna touch a bit the highlights. Okay, I'm just gonna put the highlights a bit higher up. Okay, and as you can see already, her face looks better. In this one, mid details. I just wanna have a bit more mid details. Okay, and as you can see, she has a bit more mid details. Here, saturation, no, not gonna touch saturation. The hue, no, not at all, otherwise we turn. Here, probably pivot, yeah. This is more or less the light. So I'm applying all these nodes at the same time. At the same exact time. It's not one above the other, no. They are working at the same time. That's parallel nodes. That's what they do. Pivot. Okay, just things you can change. You can also even change the temperature a bit in one of them. To go more like this or like this. Something like this. Here another. I mean, we did maybe too much, okay, but we could do like this, okay, but you see that they affect different. Like if now, for example, okay, Command Z, I just add one here. I just turn all the saturation down, all the contrast up. But instead, if I do the same with this one, you see it's already doing it different. It gives me much more space. The other, with just a tiny bit, it just went very, very fast, very high. This is different. Contrast or the tint, for example. We put it at 100 now. Let's take one of these and just put 100 of tint, and it's slightly different. Let's see, so you can see it clear. Here, for example, tint 200. Okay, we have 100 tint. No, maybe with tint is not the best example. But if we do it here, for example, the good thing of doing the parallel nodes is that here is too much always when you do it in log. And with the parallel nodes, you can do this. That a lot of nodes are just doing. You can apply things at the same time. Okay, so here we did some highlights before with this one, 42. And I can still make this highlight of 94. Okay, because it's not just one node that is acting. There are a lot, so you can use two nodes for the same thing, more or less, okay? Because they're not gonna be on top of other. They're gonna act at the same time. Okay, that's the advantage of doing these parallel nodes. So we've done, sorry, I don't know what I've done now. So we've done opposite nodes, parallel nodes. We've seen some of these LUTs. I think you just can start and do your color corrections. We've seen mask also. We've seen also this qualifier, remember? If now, for example, I want to select only this, okay? Yes. Now let's try to do these changes of skin, for example. So we want to select the color of the skin. We have it here. And again, let's do a refresh of this. We can just say, okay, we just want this exactly this part, okay? Again, this tool, very important, this tool. Very, very, very important. So we just select the skin of them. That's what we're doing. Remember, same thing as we were doing in selecting that train, okay? Well, that metro. So it's exactly the same, okay? You just touch these parameters until you get more or less what you're looking for. Remember the saturation, important. And here you have more or less hair. Then remember to denoise and do all these things. Clean white, blue radius, all of these things, okay? But you're telling exactly this here. I want this, the textures of the skin. And now we could just go here and look what would happen. I mean, we could change this and you see that they became blue. So we are selecting this. And for example, if we wanted even a bit more light, more expression now, I just put this and it's very exaggerated now, but just turn it a bit down. And there's a bit more of light. Like a tiny bit, like this. Okay, it's very subtle again, but you can see it. You can also color boost a bit, or just more mid details, even though, and just bring the saturation maybe a bit down.